Hey, Ignite. David Rice back here again with Jonathan Miller. Jonathan, I can only imagine how tired you are.
A 10-week-old baby, a little early morning session, it's all good. Honestly,
Yes,
I'm up anyway, so that's why the early mornings are so great.
I was going to say, do you get any sleep with a 10-week-old baby?
Yeah, we do pretty good. We take turns. We take turns. That's the key. You trade off at night, and I'm fortunate enough that I can go, at 10:30, 11 o'clock. If I go to sleep, I can get up at 5 or 6 pretty easily, so it's not too
You're a good man.
bad. My wife needs the beauty sleep, so she's not a morning person. So I always take the morning shift. We didn't we didn't think that through when we started, but we got to figure it out now. I'll tell you.
Nice. At least you guys got
Yeah,
there.
yeah, we did. We got there for sure.
That's all right. So listen, I think we have a really great message for young dentists today, and that is we spoke last time about perception really is reality. And that's true for all of us, whether you're a young dentist coming in, a seasoned dentist, someone who's on that dental team, or the patients that exist in that practice. And one of the major areas of concern that I get every single day from our young dentists is, hey, I joined this practice. I was taught in school, taught in my residency, trained really well to talk about comprehensive care, complete dentistry, and this dental practice does a little bit at a time. And it reminded me of a course I've given through Ignite called Pizza by the Slice or the Whole Pie. So I know we alluded to that last time. And
Love
it's
that
one of my
title.
favorite classes, right? Because how do we figure out who wants the whole pizza, and how do we figure out who just wants one or two slices as we treatment plan them? And more importantly, as a young dentist, what in the world do I do when I'm trained to deliver the whole pie and the dental practice and the
Right.
dental patients are used to one slice at a time? So what do we do?
So I think first things first. And when I talk to a group of young doctors, I tell them honestly that's their number one issue they're going to find out in the real world. There's a big difference between dental school and clinic, and people are sitting there ready to go and let's get started. And then you get into the real world, if you will, and all of a sudden that's the number one thing that knocks most dentists out is oh my God, I had no idea Mrs. Jones would be that upset. I was just doing what I was trained to do. I am insert dental school here and we're all great. And the doctor went to that dental school, so he picked me to be the associate. And so he knows how I was trained. I don't know why he's so upset.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is that dentist, the owner doctor, was in the same boat that you are too, except they've forgotten. And they got that experience over time to realize, aha, patients don't really want it all at once. Now, some do, but most aren't interested in all the pizza right now, right? And so you've got to get on the same page with your owner doctor immediately. Now, your owner, and it may not even be the owner doctor, honestly. It may also be owner doctor and treatment coordinator or office manager or whomever, whatever titles they use. But they're going to know the patients. And so first things first, you should be having a morning huddle. If your team doesn't have a morning huddle, then of course you walk in and say, hey guys, I got a great idea. We're going to do a morning huddle. It's not going to work. My advice then at that point is to look at your schedule, get with your treatment coordinator or your owner doctor, depending upon how you guys run things. In some cases, associates there with no owner doctor that day. So get with somebody who knows the patients and ask, hey, Mrs. Jones, how is she? Personality, any information, any tips, any tidbits that you can get out of that. She may say, hey, Mrs. Jones is the CEO of a firm, wants everything done today, in and out. That's what she wants. So if you see anything, tell her, let's get it done. Well, that's more of the whole pie kind of person, right? And you'd be surprised that, oh, I didn't realize. Okay, thanks for telling me. Because Mrs. Jones, if you tell her, well, we have one thing here and then we're going to do this and reschedule you, she's going to say, I don't have time for that. I'm supposed to come here today. I get everything done. I come once every 10 months and I knock it out. And that's how I am. Oh, okay. Fair enough. That's okay. And so then you may have, I don't know, nervous Nadia coming in later on, who clearly is nervous Nadia, and she doesn't want it all done today. And she wants things piece by piece by piece. You're looking for the information from someone on the team that can give it to you. Now let's pretend for a second that you don't have any of that stuff. Let's pretend for a second that you walked in there that day with nobody else in there but you and patients. You got no help, no support, no nothing, or maybe you just don't have a team that's very good. They don't know what they're doing either. My advice is to always ask the patient. There's nothing wrong with asking. Because the other thing I think is that patients change their mind. People change. And so if it was something simple the office may have the misperception, miscommunication that, oh yeah, they said, yeah, they want it all done today and taken care of. Well, yeah, we were talking about something very, very simple, very basic, one surface filling, you got time, we can knock it out. Great. Now all of a sudden you're seeing a cracked tooth and we're talking a crown, or we're talking something a little bit more intense, and $2,500 bill and all that stuff. And they're going to go, whoa, whoa, whoa. I did not expect to hear that.
Right.
I will tell you that as a young dentist, and it's weird for me to say because I've never been a young dentist, but from what I hear from young dentists, it's that you're better off being more cautious than being overzealous. So you're much, much better off either asking the question or underdiagnosing than you are overdiagnosing. The minute you overdiagnose, and tendency typically tends to be, okay, well, one, you're just reaching for stuff that you're not really sure what you're doing anyway. The second thing that is hurting you is the cost, okay? Because the more treatment that is needed, the odds of the costs are going up and up and up. And so then now it's a conversation, not even about your skill set as a clinician. That went right out the window once the patient heard $2,000 or $3,000 or $5,000. Now all of a sudden you're reaching for their wallet, you're after their checkbook, or you just don't know what the hell you're doing in general. And the other thing I think with overdiagnosis is now you have patients that start second guessing either you or the owner doctor, right? And that's maybe the worst thing ever, because while owner doctor could appreciate a patient second guessing you, the associate, with them being a little upset and a little frustrated, and the owner doctor say, look, it's okay, I understand it. What you can't have is that patient going, well, gosh, Jonathan, I've been seeing Dr. Rice for 15 years. He's never told me I had any of these issues. That seems strange. Like, what the hell's going on in here? And now all of a sudden, they're second guessing Dr. Rice, the owner doctor who they've seen for 15 years. And you're going to have to go, I mean, what are you going to do? Oh, wait, no, I didn't mean that. I meant, my mistake. I mean, so you can see how this becomes a slippery slope. Yeah. So my advice is, if you don't get any direction from the owner doctor, then underdiagnose, if you will. Of course, I'm not advising anybody leave there in pain or unhealthy or anything like that. But I think we got some smart people watching this here that can understand what I mean between under and overdiagnose. And I would say if your owner doctor, for whatever reason, has just pushed you in the deep end without any support, I would go on that side. You see the value in that from when you've been an owner doctor and you've had associates. What do you think?
Absolutely. So I'm going to dissect that a little bit. So young docs, there are so many good messages in there. The first message I heard is lean on the owner doc and lean on the team. Gain their knowledge based on every single individual patient you're going to see either in your chair or in a hygienist's chair. So really understand who's in front of you and what matters most to that individual person if you can. And then two, if you don't have that, take a step back and just ask the patient what's most important to them. And I love that. You have, so Laura, the newest dentist in our practice, she's been with us for a couple of years now, so she's just killing it. But in the beginning, what was really, really cool for Laura is she had a brand new opportunity to help patients that for whatever reason, my partner, Mark, and I maybe couldn't get through to them. So we are a whole pie practice in general, but we obviously have people who want a slice at a time, and some who want the whole pie, some want half. I mean, everybody wants something different.
Three quarters, take your pick, right?
Some people want Chicago, some people want New York style. I mean, what the heck?
Yeah. I'm a New York guy, personally.
I'm a thick customer myself. Yeah. One slice and whoo, I'm done. But picture Laura. So picture we can give her some ammunition. Jonathan's coming in as a patient. This is who he is. And for whatever reason, maybe I just haven't had great luck getting Jonathan to really see what he needs dentally. Laura having that ammunition can kind of frame the scenario. And then this is where being a new dentist is awesome. Imagine walking in and saying, hey, Jonathan, I know you know Dave. I know you know Mark. I know they've been here for a while and they've taken really great care of you. We've talked about your dental history, so that lets somebody know that we're all on the same page. But this is the first time I'm meeting you, and I want to make sure that I take as great of care of you as everyone on this existing practice has for years. So can I ask you a couple questions to make sure I do that? Man, every patient loves it. And it immediately gives you permission as the young dentist to then walk them down a road. Like you could say, hey, Jonathan, there's a lot of stuff here. It can be overwhelming. Do you want me to give you the whole picture, or do you want me to tell you what you need first and prioritize second and third, and then just stop talking. And, Jonathan being a great guy, like, he'll tell you exactly what he wants. And then you just have to keep asking for permission time and time again. And your third point is brilliant, in that people change. So what Jonathan wanted 2 years ago can be very different than what he wants from today. He's a dad now, he's a new dad. That's a different mindset than, being the Jonathan of past, or, go way in the past being a single guy versus a married guy. And in the future being, maybe being way in the future being a grandfather instead of a father. So, be open to understanding that an objection, no today it just means not now. So
right.
Don't be offended by that. Don't let that stop you from recommending treatment in the future. You just have to have the right frame. Your points were awesome.
To kind of end, I would tell you, and this is just fresh in my mind, I was in a dental office yesterday with a dentist I've been working with for a while, and he's super excited. He just got his first associate. Sky's the limit, right? And of course, we're in that growing pain mode. And he loves the associate and clinically trained and all that stuff. And of course, it's his connection with patients that's hurting him right now. Now, the doctor's taking it with a grain of salt. I had to tell him, hey, you got to where you are from experience. What were you like when you first started? And he's like, I had medical notes up to my face like this and kind of peered over them. And we're like, oh, the patient's still looking at me? Wait, Mrs. Jones, I'll be with you in a second. And he just held the medical chart up to his face the whole time. And so you're never going to be at fault trying to ask those questions, gain their trust, and build rapport, which is what that does all at the same time. It's never going to hurt you in your career. It's never going to hurt you with patients. And quite frankly, I would rather you be a little more curious on it, because you may have an older doctor, owner doctor, that may be a little jaded, right? And say, oh, here comes Jonathan again, and that guy never did anything. So, just do the exam and do the stuff and whatever. Well, now Jonathan's a dad, and he's a lot more concerned about longevity and healthcare. And he read an article about perio disease and birth defects or whatever, and we're just going to treat him like we've always treated him. I mean, there's something to finding out what's really going on and just staying in tune and staying in touch with your patients. So I think asking those questions and being that different voice really, really gets some patients to open up. And if nothing else, Jonathan's the same guy he's always been. Great. Now all good, no harm, no foul. And if he's changed, oh my God, you're the best ever, because we would have never known that stuff, and we would have never known that he was thinking about, hey, I want you to check for perio and be really certain I don't have it because I read this crazy stuff. Or, hey, I was really thinking about going cosmetic for whatever reason. Or, the list goes on and on. I just don't think that kind of stuff is ever going to hurt you in your career. And the unfortunate part is I haven't heard about it being taught, at the dental school level, at least on a consistent basis. I hear, like, the great thing about you, David, is that you get to go into these schools and actually get in front of the dental students and say, hey, here's some of the real world stuff. Yeah. I would almost love it if there were a couple of you running around the country that had a consistent course line at each school. So then you could say, here consistently is the message, and there's, you could turn this into a whole different thing from a seminar standpoint. There's so much out there that just gets missed. And look, we'd have to send dental kids to school for 10 years and we taught it all.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's, one of the simplest lessons I learned many, many years back was, to your point, relationships and trust is people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Whew, had to make sure it's a little earlier. They don't, we're so trained to tell people, because that's how we get grades in school and pass exams. But if you just stop talking at patients and start asking more questions, and as a young dentist, do it with the team, right? The first people you need to wow are the teammates and the practice that you're in. And Laura's greatest asset in our practice is our team loved her from day one, because she was interested in them instead of trying to be interesting to them. She didn't tell them lots of things. She asked lots of questions. And now every time Laura walked into a treatment room, whether it was one of the assistants, we're about to say, like, wait till you meet Dr. Laura. She's amazing. Wow. It took us, and they tell the truthful story. It took us 5 years to find the right young dentist for our practice. Trust instantly transferred. Or she walks into a hygiene appointment to do the exam after a recare appointment, and Laura's automatically, her status is way up here. So be curious. I love that word that you use all the time. Be curious as a young dentist. Ask lots and lots of questions. Lean on the team. If you don't have that asset, just keep asking, gain permission from people. It's okay. You don't have to know everything. You're not supposed to know everything. You have a huge opportunity as a young dentist joining my team or any other dentist team. And Jonathan, I think I'll leave it up to you to wrap up that whole concept of, if you have to choose between delivering the whole pie or a couple slices at a time, and you just don't have any information, you said it. Maybe go with a piece or two at a time.
I'm going a couple slices at a time.
Yeah.
Because if they want more, they'll tell you.
Yeah.
But if you try to, force feeding is obviously the risk that you run here by saying, here's the whole pie. And if they don't want that, they'll definitely tell you. It's just usually in the opposite direction that you want. They're telling you on their way out the door.
Yeah, you're hearing about it from another dental practice when they're requesting something.
Yes, exactly. Lovely.
Yeah.
Love getting those calls.
So young docs, that's like Jonathan said, that's the number one problem he sees. He's working with practices all over the country with lots of coaches with Fortune who do the same thing. It's the biggest problem you're going to face, the biggest obstacle, challenge you have to overcome. Hope this helps. Remember, pizza by the slice or the whole pie. And until next time, together we rise. Thanks a lot, Jonathan.
Take care.